You've signed up to the gym to fix your skinny, frail body, become aesthetic, so maybe you can get some You know you have to lift and eat to build this aesthetic body, and you're doing exactly that, but you still look like shit. First thing you think to yourself is, my genetics are shit. But they really aren't. You just aren't insanely gifted, and you need to put in a little bit more work than everyone else. And it's these three crucial steps that you've been missing. For some context, I used to be a skinny as fuck weirdo gamer in school, had little confidence, struggled to meet girls, struggled to make friends. I signed up to the gym to try and fix my life and build an aesthetic physique. Couldn't even bench 10 kilo dumbbells in each hand. I think I was stuck on like 5 kilo dumbbells, and I just thought I had terrible genetics and it was fucking over for me. But then I followed these three crucial steps, which I'm about to cover, that allowed me to become aesthetic, finally feel good with my shirt off and wear tight clothes anywhere. Now I can walk into any single room with confidence, feeling competent and social, like I never expected I'd be able to feel. And I help young guys do the exact same. Step one is to track your metrics. There's a reason why bodybuilders who are on prep, you know, those guys that are like getting tanned and they look super shredded, when they go on stage they look incredibly like diced to the bone. Right at the start of their prep they had a bit more fat on them, but the reason they're able to get into killer physique shape, killer lean shape every single time is because they follow a plan and they track everything they do. If you're really wanting to actually succeed at something, then you have to track and make small improvements over and over again, and you need to know what your shortcomings are and how to actually make progress towards your goals. And if we're trying to become aesthetic, the two main things we need to be doing are eating and lifting. So we need to start tracking them. A mistake that I used to make is thinking that I was eating enough to actually gain weight and build muscle, but the problem was I simply wasn't. I'd have a lot on one day, but then a little bit less on the other, and it will throw out my overall calorie balance, because we know that we need to be in a calorie surplus to actually pack on mass. So what I recommend doing, and what I started doing myself, is to track every single meal. But there's an easier way to do this. On the tracking apps, I use MyFitnessPal. What I used to do is I used to make preset meals. So let's say I was eating beef, rice and cheese as one of my meals. Well, instead of each time I had to search in on the search bar beef and then find the right brand and then find the right fat percentage of it and then weigh it and then think about how much I was eating and do the same for rice and do the same for cheese, which can get super chaotic if you're having a big, high ingredient meal. What I used to do is just make the meal to the way I wanted, how much I would eat comfortably and how much I knew I needed, and then I would save it inside the app as a preset. So whenever I was looking to track my calories, I didn't have to guess or waste more time. I used just to go to the preset meals, click it, add it into my daily calorie calculator, and I knew that if I just had that meal, which I was making standardized, meal prep over and over again, then I wouldn't have to waste time searching it in, and it makes the tracking process so much smoother. And then for training, one huge mistake that I was making was just not caring about how much weight I was lifting. I used just to go in, have a brief idea in my head, and I'd try and improve, but there'd be many times where I'd literally have to stand in the gym and I'd be thinking, well, did I just do that weight, or was that the weight I did last week? And I'd often go in and end up just repeating the same amount of lifted weight, which was not helping me make progress. So what you need to do is you need to track your lifts, right? Maybe get a diary or get a spreadsheet, or there's plenty of like fitness tracking apps. I don't personally use the fitness apps because I think they're too like distracting, and there's so many like bullshit like rest times and stuff. Realistically, all you need is like a diary, write down the exercises you're doing, and then try and get better over time and track what you did each time. That is how you make progress, because you can actually see if you're improving or not, and you know what your target is for next session. And to add on to that, do less exercises in the gym. That way you're not getting so confused. Just like creating meal defaults and having less of a variation in your diet, when you do less exercises, there's less chance of you fucking up and going off plan. And the second crucial step, which hardly anybody talks about, is to boost your testosterone naturally. We know that to become aesthetic, there are two main factors. It's body fat and it's muscle mass, right? If you have low testosterone, then it's going to impair both of these things. If you have low testosterone, your body fat is naturally going to be higher and you're naturally going to look more kind of like weird and chubby. I used to look like this myself. I was skinny, but I was somehow fat. My arms looked like I was a skeleton. I had skinny ass legs as well, but my stomach was still kind of like pudgy and like chubby, yet my ribs were still poking out. So how could I be skinny, fat at the same time? It's because my testosterone was low. My hormones were all out of whack. And then if I had low testosterone, which I did when I was starting, well, it took me ages longer to build muscle, right? There's a reason why guys get on testosterone. It's because it helps them optimize their fat and build muscle quicker. Because when you have higher testosterone levels, you become more masculine genetically, and the masculine have less fat stored in unaesthetic zones like that stomach area and like the kind of chest and the hips, places that just kind of make you look fucking weird. So boosting your testosterone can actually help you build muscle quicker and optimize the fat positioning on your body, which is going to double the effect of becoming aesthetic. Simplest way that you can do this right now is by swapping out your typical chicken and rice meals for something like beef and rice, because beef is high in zinc and high in cholesterol, same with many other animal meats, and we need cholesterol to make testosterone. And before you say, but cholesterol is fucking bad, bro, I don't want to get a heart attack, well, there's numerous studies coming out nowadays that are showing the opposite of that. And let's face it, bro, would you rather be fucking skinny and unhealthy and fat, or eat something that has been around for thousands of years, millions of years, animals, right, that our ancestors used to eat? There's a reason why we still eat it. It's because it did wonders for keeping the human race alive. And the third step, which you've probably also never heard of, is copy the people you want to look like. Copy aesthetic people. If I told you that tomorrow I had a maths exam, but I was studying geography questions instead, you would probably think I'm a fucking idiot, right? And that's where I went wrong. I wasn't optimizing my training for my goals. I knew that at the base foundation of my training, I wanted to become stronger and aesthetic, right? Now, if you were trying to become stronger and aesthetic, you wouldn't go and train like a strongman, because you know what strongmen look like. They look fat and they look weird. They're not aesthetic at all. They're strong, but they're not aesthetic. And this is a mistake I made. I'd go in not really knowing the ideal persona I'd try to be training for, and I just follow random splits. It's like guys that are trying to become like a fitness model, but they're going to follow Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodybuilding split, where there's 17 different exercises and you're eating 10,000 calories a day to bulk up. Like, why would you do that? You're trying to become aesthetic. You have to follow the patterns. There's a reason why all the aesthetic guys that you see online and stuff, they all kind of look similar. It's because they didn't reinvent the wheel. They just focused on the exercises and the training mechanisms and strategies that actually worked. I remember this thing happening exactly myself. I used to absolutely hate training shoulders, and I used to wonder why I looked like shit. And now I look at all the aesthetic guys, influencers on the internet, and they all have dominant shoulders. They all have that frame. And when I started training shoulders, what do you know? I ended up looking more like them, more towards my goals, because I optimized for my goals. So you can't reinvent the wheel. And the easiest thing that you can do to become aesthetic, to save you the time of researching, is to build a V-taper physique. That is the one physique trait that all aesthetic people have, even if they're at a higher body weight. V-taper physique, where you have a smaller waist and you have wider shoulders and bigger lats. It makes you look bigger and more dominant, more imposing. And this is important if our main goal is to become aesthetic and hopefully attract women. So if you just follow even one or two of these crucial steps, you'll avoid stalling and looking in the mirror just like I did and thinking, why the fuck do I still look like shit? But if you do want a fast-tracked way to achieve the aesthetic dream physique and to fix your life as well and become confident and masculine, just like you know you want to be, then check the link in the description. I'm confident it will help you. Hope this helped. Peace out.